What's up, fam? Welcome to the GreenBody podcast, where we grow together, learn together, and share practical ways to do your self work and the work that pays you. I'm Goddess, your holistic health coach, guide, muse, nurse since I was 22. And today we're going to talk about self care and what it is not. Because a lot of people got it twisted. You just throw self care on anything and just, you know, on any old habit. But really, we want to be intentional about our self care because it's important. And why is it important? Self care is determines your health, determines your ability to live your life, how much energy you got to live it, how much presence, emotional presence you have to live it, how much comfortability you have to live it, right? We're talking about financial comfortability, physical, all that. So this all dials down to your daily habits. So you got to take a look at your habits. And if you can't watch this full thing right now, the full episode, save it. It's going to be really useful. This is really important stuff. And I'm always going to implement a action, right? So something I want you to try and exercise, some way to implement what we learned each episode. So stick around for that. And yes, save this. So what is wellness? First of all, wellness is very broad as well. We got self-care, we got wellness, we have all this jargon thrown around and it gets watered down. But what does it mean? Your wellness is your state of living a healthy lifestyle. Your health is your state of being. So your health, we have data for that, right? We have measurements for that. We also have a physical representation of what health could look like. But also, wellness is a state of healthy living. So that means whatever you do on a daily basis is going to determine the status of your health. And our self-care is a term that we use to label the habits that we have in place that we do that contribute to our health, to our well-being, right? So if your self-care is not contributing to that in some emotional, mental, physical way, then it's just a habit. It's a habit that you like. Just say that. Oh. So I'm gonna share. Tell you the new format. I'm gonna share something about our topic today. So about how I came about looking into self-care. Right. I've always been concerned about better health and better living, and part of that was because I grew up in a family with health problems. We have things that run in the family, you got these track stars like breast cancers and asthma, lung cancer, diabetes, and some other things, right? Some things that you probably have in your family as well, things that are running in the family. And so I became a nurse to know more about how to heal the body, right? And I just deepened that with self-study, taking more classes, experience, just working on myself. And I've always been very interested in how can we live better? How can we heal ourselves? And I knew that there's always going to be a need for healing. One of the reasons I became a nurse, I'm like, it's a job that'll never be obsolete. There'll always be a need, a purpose for a nurse. And now it's even better for me because I'm able to kind of be the community nurse, family nurse, and just answer your questions in a way, that just guides you. So feel free to leave any questions you guys have as it pertains to wellness. Okay. I'm not going to help you with the health diagnosis or anything. I'm not WebMD. I'm giving you advice on wellness. Okay. What you can do. I really just am enjoying the sound of my voice in the mic. And that's why I put the headphones on today. I had them off and then I was like, I need these. I like this. Okay. So when we have a chronic imbalance, an imbalance that we ignored, our body has whispered and now it is starting to scream because we are ignoring our body's feedback. Body's always talking to us. And that becomes an illness, right? The longer that goes on, it becomes chronic. And now we need to rush to the hospital to get some help. And hopefully our body can get enough help so that it can get to a point of homeostasis, balance. Okay. So when I was younger and seeing these health things in my family as well, going back to my story, I had asthma. You guys have heard my asthma story before. I've had asthma, had it really bad. It was exercise induced. I would laugh and get an asthma attack. But there is also like smoking and stuff around me. So it made sense why I had asthma. And then also just the food habits, right? Growing up eating not really your choice of food, you just kind of eat what's given to you. And it's not the best food, canned foods, free food, um, cheap food, processed food, fake food, noodles. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. So these foods that would contribute to things like hypertension, diabetes, and just an imbalance in your body. And if you start from a young age, from a kid, it's not that your body gets used to it. Like there's still a nature to how your body works. It's that you just get used to the cues. You get used to having a little cramp after you eat. A lot of people have discovered that they have an allergy or celiac, right? Celiac disorder, and they ignored stomach cramps and just uncomfortable things for so long. I mean, I'm talking about other people. Let me talk about myself. I was drinking every time I would eat ice cream. I don't really drink milk. It was the ice cream, cheese. I love cheese. I ate so much cheese, and I just assumed that that was part of the process. Like that was the bubble guts and the cramps. I thought that was part of the process of eating cheese. And I just assumed that this is what French people live like every day. I'm just kidding. Oh, but I love cheese. And now I like it. I don't love it because of what it does to my body. So I don't even really buy it. I'll eat if it's sitting around like a little bit. Ice cream, yes, but I have a trick for ice cream. Side note, I take a shot of ACV with a whole glass of water before I eat my ice cream, and I get no bubble guts. Don't tell anybody that. Don't tell anybody. Just try it. And yeah, so my motivation to dive deeper into self-care and take it seriously was seeing the results of not taking care of yourself in my family. And I wanted to keep passing that on. And I know compared to the last generation, I might look like a health freak. And that's fine because that means that I'm able to pass on more health habits, to the next generation. And it's showing too, because even the kids, the twins, my nieces, they exercise. Nyla's a gymnastics expert. She does like all these back bends and stuff. They understand, how important it is to go to the park and play and run around and use your energy. And they make me run even when I'm in flip-flops sometimes. I'm in flip-flops and I still have to run and chase them around the circle because that's what I taught them. So it's a beautiful thing to see it happening right in front of your eyes, changing your generational patterns, changing the course of your family's health, changing the course of your family's wealth, right? So that's what self-care does. And if you break it down to little actions that you can do on a daily basis, you can strengthen the results. And you have to think of it as on that, macro level, that big picture level. So let's get into this presentation, okay? And I made this presentation. Well, it was kind of like pre-made, and I put in a lot of work to make sure that these girls were colored. They're all very brightly colored, and representation is important to me. So I took the extra 30 minutes to make sure that everybody was filled in. Okay. And is this full screen? Okay, I guess this is as full screen as it's gonna get. Okay, that's cool. All right, canceling self-care myths. Okay, we're gonna get more into self-care, what it is and what it isn't. So self-care is a vague term thrown around. And let's be clear on what it is and what it is not. Go big or stay home. Self-care does not have to be you planning a whole vacation, spending a lot of money, splurging. A lot of times when we splurge, it leads to that feeling of debt later, that feeling of lack, that feeling of poverty later, where you don't have no money. And you could have saved yourself that strife by turning your self-care into more financial literacy or making more discerning choices. That's self-care, that's self-love, right? So It doesn't have to be something big, doesn't have to be something that, you got to charge to the card. And it should be something that's small so that it's accessible. When we make big plans, it's like the chances of canceling those big plans is so much more exponential than if they're small plans, right? Small plans are easy to complete. So self-care is a luxury. We know that's not true, but like I was saying earlier, it's been marketed to middle-aged white women and their families, just like therapy. It's not marketed to people of color. Now it is. Things are different now. I know that. But now it's heavily marketed to us, right? And that's a good thing. That's good that it's being more inclusive. Um, but as on a personal level, we all need to realize and recognize and identify with self-care, identify with wellness, identify with mindfulness and meditation as something that is for you, something that is good for you and for your community as a whole. And my goal has always been to normalize meditation, self-care, things like that. And it's happening. It's not because of me, but it's collectively because of all of us doing it, showing it, putting out that kind of content, making it mainstream. And that's how we change. We change things. So why is it seen as a luxury? The market, right? Don't go by don't let the market and the marketing campaigns, the propaganda, tell you what's for you. If you see, those nobody that looks like you in the room or nobody that looks like you on the ads, does not mean that it is not for you. And I mean that as far as like, certain things. Certain times you should be respectful of what's not for you. But it can be as simple as meditating and breathing mindfully, right? That don't cost nothing. It's about being selfish. This one is a big one because we love throwing self-care on I ghosted this person or I canceled my plans in a raggedy way. Like canceling your plans not bad, but the way you do it, I always feel like I don't want to represent my self-care as like something that is hurtful to other people. So even no matter what I need, even if it's like silence, distance, I can express that in a way that's not harmful. I don't have to be savage about it, right? So prioritizing yourself is self-love. And so you can come from that place, lead with love, come from that place of love when you're doing it and when you're choosing what it is. And let me see. Let me actually stop sharing because I had a list of what it is, right? Let's go a little bit more into what it is, what it ain't. I'm going to give you some of my favorite self-care habits and some of the popular ones. And a lot of them fall into a place where they can be just a habit, they can be a negative habit. So we got self care habits, which I want to differentiate from um, just the habits, things that you like, because self care habits are long term. You think long term, you have long term goals with these self care habits. Also, in the brain, self care habits themselves are bonding with oxytocin. So, oxytocin is a part of habitual actions. It's not just about hugging and mother baby bonding, it is part of that, but it also is heavily involved with, excuse me, creating habits. So, let's think about the habits that we have with self care that are healthy for us, right? And some popular ones. So, yoga, exercise, spa, massage, anything that's working with a treatment on your body, right? So, body treatments, mindful eating, health hacks. If you take a shot, you're juicing, like you do a fast, those are all habits that you put in place to produce certain health results, right? Dancing, therapy. I'm really happy therapy is being it's out there, right? Therapy's out there. It seems like a more normal thing now for men and women, black, in between, white, brown, everywhere, right? And especially with black people, I'm seeing a lot more of that. Sometimes I like roll my eyes because I see propaganda with marketing, but at the same time, I roll them back because I'm like, the right person is going to see this and be like, oh, identify with that, and then sign up and get their therapy. So why am I mad at that? Just marketing. Ah. And then creating is such a um, powerful way to do your mental health. especially when you create in a focused way, where you're working on something from start to finish, or it's gradual, painting, anything with a process, building, and it doesn't always have to use your hands. You can be creating something digitally, right? Digital art, programming, any of that. Um, and that's one of the habits that could be on the other list, where it's creates an imbalance, right? So even when it comes to creating, we want to make sure we have um, still time to rest, still time to move our bodies, still time to socialize, all that. Refining your craft is another way of doing self care. So, learning more about your business, um, learning more about how to network, how to refine your product, whatever those are ways that you can do your self care, because it builds upon your health. And like we'll see later on with the wellness wheel, it builds into your financial wellness. Okay. Acts of service. Acts of service is one of my favorite. It takes your mind off of your own stuff. You get you out of your own way and be like, let me worry about somebody else and help somebody else. And it's like a meditation away from your problems. The simplest way to put it. So, acts of service is one of my favorite. Quality time with yourself and loved ones is another way, act of self care. That actually does bring out more oxytocin, right? That bonding, that quality time. It nourishes you. That love, it grows you. Cleaning up the house and organizing. When you take care of your outside environment, that's environmental wellness. Okay. Learning something new, building upon your brain, building upon your mental wellness, your intellectual wellness. Um, there's just so many. So we're going to get into that. And then let me talk about some habits that are just wants. And those are short term, deals more with dopamine, pleasure, right? And it goes away fast. It's short term. It's a band aid many times. So we want to be clear on what we do for our pleasure, which is fine, and then what we excuse it as self care and do it as an indulgence. Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say it again, but I'm going to move on. So binge watching, sexual pleasure, drinking, eating indulgently, right? Because there's eating good. Eating good could be eating healthy, eating a lot of good stuff. Eating good could also be eating good. Like I had some cake, some this, some fried this. It doesn't always have to mean um, the dictionary meaning of it. But those are habits that they'll make you feel good for a little bit, but they also might be detrimental to your health. So imagine if I did say, oh, this is my self care habit to um, drink every night. And like the more I drink, the more self care I'm doing. Your liver's pissed off, first of all. Your liver is not happy. Your liver's not going to be able to process all the fats and sugars that can lead to diabetes. So, a lot of these things, especially with alcohol, I'm going to make a separate video about that because it does contribute to a lot of our chronic illnesses. And we don't connect those two because the market wants you to keep buying alcohol. But alcohol can contribute to diabetes. It's a sugar. It's a sugar that your body needs to process. And it's hard for it to process that sugar. It's really hard. And your liver gets tired. Okay? I feel like I'm just personifying the liver right now. Like I'm becoming the liver. I'm mad for it. Oh, getting back into this presentation. If I can find it, where'd it go? No, not that. Hold on. Okay, take a step back. There we go. How do I have two windows? I do. I have two screens. I have two desktops. Oh, there it is. All right, you see that? So we talked about that being selfish and not being savage. Okay, have some manners. Have some manners with your self care, honey. Booze and binge watching. Self care should be focused on holistically healthy activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. And I know you don't like being told what to do. And that's why I said you just got to be clear. Is this a self care habit that is building long term results that are good for me? Or is this something that I just want to do for a short term thrill, pleasure? And check yourself on how often you're doing that. You have to be the person that checks yourself. Nobody's sitting around watching you and checking yourself for you. You have to be that person that says, like, this is off. You can do better. Um, this is not getting us to where we need to go. This has no value. And it's not all the time, right? We all do this. Like, I binge watched this show. I mean, it was during the pandemic. I think we all binge watched a few handful of things. But it was to a certain point where I just like started getting disgusted with it. I'm like, I need to do something else. I have so much to put out in the world, and I'm sitting here just staring at this screen. And a lot of times, intuitively, your body, your brain will be like, we're full. This is enough. Like, we want something else. And it'll get disinterested. So, just even listening and paying attention to those cues, that disinterest, your body knows what it wants balance. Okay. Um, and you have to achieve your goals first and earn it. So this is kind of that like go hard or go home, punishing yourself kind of thing. You feel like you have to work hard enough to earn, a little break, or you have to press through this to, stop. And I understand that. I was like that. I didn't stop going to school until I came out with something that I can make money with. I did not take one break from school, and I switched different schools, tried different kind of programs, but it was continuous. And so I understand. I have no regrets. I did it, but I understand how it is, not having that quitting spirit. But you have to know when to stop. And denying yourself that self-care can lead to burnout, insomnia, irritation, headaches, really popular right now, and broken relationships, also really popular right now. Pandemic has just wreaked havoc on the dating community. So all that and more, right? We have so many things that are demanded of us, and we have to prioritize ourselves first, because without us first, none of that stuff happens. It just all crumbles down. It takes up a lot of time. It can. It doesn't have to. You only need about 30 minutes, and I put 30 minutes because that's what I tell everybody, at least, but it could be 10. Start with 10 if you have to. Hell, start with 5, but work your way up. And you'll notice naturally you want to do more, you want to do it longer, you want to dive deeper, because you see results. You notice you feel different, you notice you feel better. Um, just, you'll notice, okay? Self care speaks for itself. And then how to pinpoint your self care needs. So check out the wellness wheel. We're going to look at that next. Identify the ways you already do self care. It's really important to feed yourself that positive input and look at what you do, acknowledge what you do already, so that you don't come from a place of like, damn, I have so much to build upon. It's like, no, you're already here. You're not way down here. You're already here. So now what can you do to build upon that? Identify the areas you feel lacking. So the wheel will show you different areas, and you can see, okay, I'm a little weak in this one. I ignore this area of my life completely. So maybe I should pay attention here. Start with one small action to affect the change. Don't go big. Not with new habits. Don't go big. How many times have you gone big? And then how many times has the going big resulted in a long-term change that is still working for you? Yeah. I mean, it might have happened, but for the most part, we try to like make these big goals all the time, and they're just impossible. And then they get so impossible, you just ignore them. You don't even take your own goals seriously. You look at that goal and laugh. Like, who the hell thought that you was going to happen? Where? How? Yeah. But with a small goal, a small little thing, you can start to build. First, you can start to build confidence that you can build new habits and stick to something. And then you can start to build stamina, so that you can keep doing something even though you don't have the positive motivation to do it. That's really important. People think that building, habits is about liking it or being able to fight through it, but really you have to start gradually. And if you want to be realistic, you have to start gradually, and over time, these incremental little changes create long-term pathways. Um, and it takes repetition to do that. So I always say start small. Accomplishment has the same effect on our brains, whether it's big or small. It's still the effect of accomplishment, still that positive feedback, confidence, all that. So make the wellness wheel your screensaver, wallpaper, so that it's a part of your everyday life. So that's something that I would recommend. And here it is, the wellness wheel. So, what area of your life are you focused on building? So, look around here. Let me pull myself down. We have spiritual, emotional, intellectual, physical, social, environmental, and financial. Okay, so within here, if this was my wellness wheel, I would have put sexual. I think it's a really important part of wellness. But in here, that's part of it, right? And I'm going to go to different parts of the wellness wheel depending on the episode, right, and the topic. But today I just want to introduce it to you as a tool that you can start familiarizing yourself with and using it as a guideline. So let's look into something that maybe we don't think about as much. Financial wellness. Financial wellness means taking steps to live within your financial means and living in and planning for future financial health. You can do this by planning financially, creating a budget, and learning to be a good consumer. So, one of the ways that I do that is I always aim to live a little bit below my means. And that's really relative because people with half the money that you got can live crazy, right? They'll spend it and it'll look different than how you spend it. Um, Buying a lot of things, trinkets, things that are not useful. I stopped doing that years ago. Um, Buying presents and gifts, not really heavy on that. I'll do it with intention. For the most part, y'all getting GreenBody for breakfast. I mean, not for breakfast, for Christmas, your birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, President's Day, all the days, Black History Month. Everybody getting shea butter, GreenBody, okay? Those are my presents. And what is the other thing I do? I buy in bulk when I know it's something that I'm going to continue to use over and over. Um, I cook a lot. I think cooking saves a lot of money. It does. I don't think. I know cooking saves a lot of money. So start cooking more. I told you I wasn't going to tell you how to live your life, but look at here I am. Here I am. So what area needs more of your attention? Let's look at another one, intellectual wellness. That one, that was interesting. Intellectual wellness means staying curious and engaged in learning new things. Engage in creative activities. Read for pleasure, be aware of social and political issues, or join a club that focuses on enhancing intellectual interests. So, like I was saying, learn something new, stimulate your brain, have a good conversation. Some people listen to Clubhouse to get this intellectual wellness going on, learn some things. Some people go in there for some bullshit. But that's what it's there for. Choose what you want to do with it. And so all these areas of wellness create you, right? It's just a reflection of who you are, what you do to express who you are. And the way that you express who you are is through all these ways, including financial. Um, Financial would be with work as well, right? How you work, how you make money, um, how you organize, how you work with the team. Environmental has a lot to do with your environment in your house. So cleaning up is part of taking care of your environmental wellness. And let's do a social one more. Let's do a really obvious one. Social wellness involves having a strong social network, can give you support and guidance when you're stressed or need stress relief. Additionally, these relationships can aid in the development of healthy relationships. So that is what we're all missing right now. Focusing on social wellness, I think, is um, what we're going to focus on, what I'm going to focus on, and we're going to do it together. So it should feel like an obligation. Of course not. But many things, a lot of our habits do, right? That's why we call them habits. There's no, when we call them, when we really like something, we don't really call it a habit. We just do it. But taking the obligation out of self care can be as easy as making it, connecting with something that you already do, and also doing it from the why, right? And it's the same thing as doing it from the heart. So lead with love. Why do you do this habit? Why do you meditate? For your mental health, for your mental clarity, because your mental well-being, without that calmness, without those moments of peace, without the ability to get out of that chaos, is going to drive you crazy. The stress is going to make you unhealthy. The stress is going to wear down your body and you're going to age faster. So all that is a reason from the heart, because you love yourself, you love being able to live your life fully. That's why I'm going to take care of myself. Okay? So you can enjoy discovering new self-care methods, and you can dive deeper with the ones that work for you. So trial and error, try some new things, and that can also be your intellectual wellness, where you're learning something, stimulating that part of your brain, and it could really catch on to you. It could really resonate with you. You're like, wow, this is useful. I enjoy it. Or this is really interesting. I want to learn more. But you don't know until you try. You have to go seek and you will find. Doing with others is also a good way. Being this whole isolationist, you know, self worker is it's not normal. I'm telling you. I know you've been a black sheep for a while and you're used to doing things on your own, but it's not normal. We all want to be a part of something, a part of a community, part of a family. Um, we all want, a partner, at least one, right? So most people want companionship. They want other humans to reflect what they're doing, reflect their purpose, and also be able to do acts of service for that person. That's how you do community. That's what it is. So, what's your excuse? You need to stop looking for excuses, okay, to get out of your self care and find something that you like. And it doesn't have to be something that you like it just gives you a joy to do it, but you like the results of it. You like what it does for your life. You like the way that it feels, and what it's doing for you. And you have time. You have time. So why do you care about our self-care? I already said that. There's just health, everyday life, how you're going to live it, the quality of life, right? So you're going to determine your quality of life. Every day you are determining your quality of life. How well is this going to go? And then we have shit that happens. There's things that happens because life is chaotic. And, part of our journey is to learn what we can control and to be more graceful about how we go about life, even though it is chaotic. Able to, dance with that chaos. But do you really want to improve your health and wellness? Do you? And you have to ask yourself that. I have to ask myself that when I'm being lazy or when I'm just, worrying about something and not doing anything about it. Do you really want to do it? Are you ready? And sometimes you're not mentally ready. Sometimes you need to seek more knowledge, do some more research, um, watch some videos or read a book to be inspired. Follow somebody that does the same thing that you do. And that'll show you, what do I need to learn or go deeper into in order to um, really know, where I want to put my focus. And is there any difference in how you feel afterwards? That's the indicator that it works. If you went for one run, a half a lap, and you thought you couldn't finish that lap and you finished that lap, that's all you did was that one lap, you feel good after that. You feel good because you went from not doing the lap to doing the lap. So that was worth it, right? And nobody can buy that experience for you. You can't, that accomplishment that you felt after doing that for yourself, the work that you put in, the work that you put in from, finishing that project, finishing that book, um, putting your website out there, whatever it is, nobody can buy that, right? That's your life. That's the value of your life. It's your experience. Only person that can commoditize that would be you. And so you have time, right? You know how to find ways to implement things to take better care of yourself. You can find ways to make it work so that it's short periods of time, but frequent. And that's always better. Short and frequent is always better than long and arduous. Just, 1 hour, you go to the gym for 3 hours a month. It's exaggerated, but you know what I mean. And then do you have resistance to inner peace? That's something that's really common, is having resistance to being in your own skin. And you don't want to admit it because it sounds like, why would I do that? But a lot of times it's stress, it's trauma, it's um, things that happen that teach us on a subconscious level that it's not safe to be in our bodies. It's not comfortable to be in our bodies. It could be things that people told you that you heard. It's not good to be in your body. And so subconsciously, we take on that perception, and we stay in a state of stress. And we'll notice that when we first start to meditate, or when we first start to, have a moment of silence, you just sit there and you get agitated and you jump up really quick. So you have a resistance to being at peace and sitting down. And it's really important to push past that. And no, we're going to rewind, because the language is very important. It's very important to lean into it. And leaning into it is different than pushing, because pushing is more resistance. So no pushing, no fighting, none of that. Surrender. Um, what's another word? Lean into, fall into, become one with, absorb. Absorb that agitation. Be with it for a minute. Don't try to push away from it. Don't try to run from it. And for the wellness room, I'm going to put the link in the bio. I just want to know how this ended, because I do want to finish up with the activity. I was leading into it and I'm like, wait, back up. Don't want to get to that yet. Let's finish this. So sign up for the wellness room. I'm going to put the link in the caption, or if this is on Instagram, it'll be, link in bio. But weekly vlogs, and then invites to our group coaching. So in the group coaching, we're going to go more into the science of how our bodies work, so that you will know how you work. Literally, you'll understand the science behind what's going on with you, and the spiritual, subtle energy body behind what's going on, right? So we're going to talk about chakras, meridians, processing emotional energy, all that. So you want to sign up for that, subscribe to the channel, okay? So you'll know when that launches. And the link is in the bio, caption, whatever. If you or someone you know has skin, I make Shea body butters with all natural ingredients. Head over to greenbodywellness.com to get your glow up. But really though, this is the body butter. Can you see it? This is our commercial. Yes, I'm selling you body butter because you have skin. So are you not moisturizing? You're moisturizing, right? So are you using lotion? Okay, so look at your lotion bottle. How many ingredients are in your lotion bottle? And can you pronounce all those ingredients? And does that lotion work for very long? And can you say that it's healthy for your whole skin, your whole body? Not with all those ingredients. So look at GreenBody. Let me see. Can you see the ingredients? Oh, look at the ingredient. How did they do that? How in the makeup tutorial? Okay. Essential oil, shea butter, castor oil, and coconut oil. That's it. That's all that's in the body butter, y'all. So put it on your skin. And every time I do this commercial, it's going to get better. So let's go back to our podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. So I'm going to bring back up this wellness wheel, because your challenge this week is to look at the wellness wheel and see your areas of strength. Where do you put a lot of your focus on self-care? Where do you feel good? Where do you feel like you can recognize some things that you're doing? And then I want you to look at the area on the wellness wheel that you are the most challenged in, that you need the most guidance in, or just the most motivation. You just weak in that area for whatever reasons, right? And then I want you to drop them in the comments. Just tell me your weak area and your strong area. So pick apart on the wellness wheel, emotional intelligence, all of them. I'm not gonna list them off right now, but all those things, and let me know. Actually, I probably should list them off. I'm trying not to be lazy. Can't be lazy. So let's go back. Okay. Wellness wheel. Spiritual wellness, emotional wellness, intellectual wellness, physical wellness, social wellness, environmental wellness, financial wellness, and that's it. Right. And then if it's sexual wellness, you can also put that, but that's under physical. Okay. So look at this wheel, identify where you're strongest, put that down, um, and then identify where you need more guidance, more help, put that down. Okay. Just those two things. That is your challenge. And I really just want to give you opportunity to do this for yourself and assess where you're at in your self care. If you are taking enough responsibility, accountability, enough action, putting enough attention into it. You put more attention into social media than you do your self care. That's something to think about, right? We got time. And that is the episode. So I did finish my first episode using this hybrid model. Okay, I did a commercial. Enjoyed the sound of my voice. Everything is great. And I don't feel like, is this, okay, it's recording. Yes. So find my podcast on wherever you find podcasts. All right. It's the GreenBody podcast and also on YouTube here. And have a great day. Okay. It's going to be on Anchor. Yeah, that's where it is, Anchor.